Oh, hi. This is Gifty, and welcome to the Baller Mom Canada page where I have my Baller Moms feature series. Today being Wednesday, September the 15th, I have a guest that will be joining us shortly. His name is Wes Brown, and he is a scout, a basketball scout here in Canada, and we're going to be talking about a little bit about him, how he started, how the scouting world is here in Canada, what he looks for, and some advices for us parents who are in this journey. Some people have already gone through it, but some are in the early stages. Things that you could be aware of to help us go through this journey if that's the route that we want to take with our student athlete. So allow me to add in Wes to join us. And this is an interactive conversation. So if anyone has any questions, please continue section and we will be to answer it for you. So here's Wes. Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you? Let me put the ball.
Yeah, good evening to you. How's everything?
Good. Good. What about you?
Can't complain. I always say that because I'm here breathing after almost 2 years of COVID and you're still alive. Can't complain.
Yeah. Exactly.
For sure. And where are you right now?
Yeah. I live downtown Toronto.
Okay.
Down.
So we're in the same weather, which is good.
It's nice. Actually, I had the window open, so I had good lighting here, but it just got like way too sunny, so I had to close.
That's okay. Okay. We get that 4 seasons in a day, so it's just a matter of where I guess you're situated that the sun or the moon can come in. And
Yeah.
before you know it, it'll be dark again. Like it's
And, yeah.
enjoy while you can, right? So yes, thank you to everyone that is joining us today. My name is Gifty, and I'm the founder of Baller Mom Canada, and I provide or connect and refer parents with leagues, clubs, and athletes information to help us all on this journey of having and raising student athletes. So with this series or today's feature, I have Wes Brown, who is a Canadian basketball scout. And I think a lot of us often hear when you're playing, watch out for scout, and a whole bunch of things. So without any further ado, trying to understand what that whole world is, I figure we bring someone who's already in that line of work and provide a lot of information to share with us. So Wes, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Yeah. I'm Wes Brown. I run a scouting service called the Monday Morning Scouting Report. Pretty much, I have clients from every level that sign up to my service, from Canadian universities and and colleges to JUCOs in the States, NCAA schools, NBA teams, everything from the top down. And so they sign up to my service, and I help them recruit Canada. I try to find talent countrywide and see what's out there, and yeah, it's pretty straightforward, I guess.
Great. Now, being that we're in the sports world, for you when you were growing up, maybe you're still growing, we're all growing, no one's old here. Did you play sports? And if you did, what was the sport that you were involved in?
Yeah, no, I played basketball, but I wasn't that good. I was a much better tennis player.
Okay.
And I think the self-awareness or self-deprecating maybe of my basketball ability uh, helped me realize, that I knew I wanted to be a scout, to be honest, and I knew
Okay.
a career. I was going to have never going to have a career in basketball. I was like a highly ranked tennis player. I was good naturally, but it's kind of funny. I mean, it's the same thing with any sport. I didn't have it in here
Mm-hmm.
at the physical gifts. Yeah, so I played growing up. I mean, I guess that helped develop my competitiveness and everything. Seeing the scene, but it's just kind of funny being on the other side now. I started obviously as a kid. You see a scout in the gym or whatever, and it's intimidating. And now I see the way kids approach me. It's just funny to see.
Oh, that's good. And you know what? I don't think you would say that you're bad. It's just you're a different level. That's why I always say everybody's a different level. There's A, B, C, D, wherever you
Yeah,
are. You did the best you could, and look where it led you, right?
yeah, we figured it out eventually.
Yeah, I think you did well. You did well. It's okay. I'm sure your mom will be very proud today. Yeah. And tennis has a ball in it, so you're still a baller kid. That's good. For sure. Okay, so you did a little bit of sports,
Yeah.
regardless of what type of sports it is. Now, what made you want to get into the scouting part of it?
I knew I wanted to be, it's an easy answer. A lot of people, right? They like grow up trying to figure out what they want to do. I knew I was going to be a scout since I was like 10 years old, maybe.
Okay.
I was always the best, even though like I wasn't, people knew I wasn't the best player, but I was like the basketball guy, everybody came to talk ball with me and everything. So I knew from a young age, I just had to figure out a way in, and I had a lot of pressure on me to succeed. I knew I had to succeed as well, and kind of my like parental pressure and everything like that turned into the pressure that I put on myself.
Yeah.
Um, I was working. I was working. I got a law degree. I was working in law for a bit, and then finance for a bit, and left to start up a website. Really, I had a scouting website for the draft. Um, I saw someone do it and got a job with the Nuggets. So I did that. Ended up getting a job with the Texas Legends, the G League team for Dallas Mavericks, and then um, they wouldn't sign my visa. So I had to figure out a new route. And the reason it's called the Monday Morning Scouting Report is I would send out just weekly reports every week of whatever I was seeing. I would go to high school games, and then I would watch college on TV, and I would just send out like a blah, everything I could possibly write.
Wow.
I think first, like they liked my work ethic and saw that I was capable at least, but I didn't really know what I was doing. I was just like basketball, just reading and reacting what would work.
Okay. Okay.
Um, over time, I realized guys didn't want college scouting; they wanted Canadian high school kids, and nobody else was really doing it. Not many people were doing it. And then I just kept going and showed up in more gyms, and it turned into really what it is.
Nice.
By hitting the page.
That jumped the gun in terms of assuming everybody knows what a scout means. So if you can step back a little bit and explain what is a scout and what does that job entail?
Yeah, I mean, finding talent and helping my clients who are whatever level they are recruit guys that will help them win at that level.
Okay.
Always use the word win rather than just finding talent. Like a lot of people are trying to find talent, but I'm trying to find winners. So it entails going to games and watching players closely and not really watching the game. I mean, if a team was playing I can tell if they're playing a zone, but I don't care. Like
Yeah.
I'm trying to analyze their decision making, the way they think out on the court with or without the ball, the way they move, their athleticism. There's so many things that go into it. Their coordination, their touch, their balls, their ball skills, everything, right?
Right.
So, um,
I
go,
guess the picture of what makes that particular athlete, how they are from beginning to the end, whether they're on court or off court, correct?
the off court stuff is just, I mean, who they are as a human is more important than the basketball stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can remember this summer, one coach saying I was at a game in the States, and the coach said, "I like that kid; he's very talented, but his mannerisms were terrible." You know, and that's where you're recruiting a human, and it's the same thing with scouting too. I mean, you're recruiting a human that thinks a certain way and that can only process decisions at a certain speed, and so you're evaluating
Mm-hmm.
human as much as you are their basketball skill or ability.
Yeah, yeah. Those are good points. So you're not looking at, can you really dribble? Can you make a 3-pointer? Can you defend? It's just the demeanor and everything that encompasses who you are when the ball is in your hand or out of your hand, and how you, I guess, support your teammates or opponents. So it's the whole picture.
For
Um,
sure.
Now, with that being said, at any point, do you also look outside on the court side to also assess the supporting and the family and everybody else that helps that particular athlete be who they are, or your main focus is that particular client that you're looking at?
Yeah, no, you have to take into account like the family situation, and especially because we're dealing with schools, and a lot of Canadian schools may not be able to offer that much money, right? So you
Mm-hmm.
always take into account the family situation, and as well that obviously plays a part into who the kid is. You
Sure.
know, you have to give leeway for, we are a result of our environments, right?
Yeah.
So you have to understand that as well. And you're just painting a picture. When I'm telling my clients, like I said, I send out a weekly report. And when I tell my clients, I try to paint a picture of, this kid is like the first sentence usually in my report is, John Smith is a, pass first point guard that defends really hard but struggles shooting, or whatever it is, right? To give an all encompassing. And then I kind of give an academic analysis at the end if it's necessary.
Okay.
Or a level. Yeah. So,
Okay. Oh, wow.
yeah.
So it's a pretty good detailed report,
Yeah.
weekly, as you said. Now,
Yeah.
whether you say you started off as a blogger or as a website, for any parent who's, they're having a game coming. Right now we have a season that's about to start. And now someone's watching. It's like, okay, you know what? I really want to get an honest opinion assessment of my child. Not necessarily for being scouted, but just to get that initiation to see where they are, if we're really on the right path or there's something else we need to do. Is that something is that part of the services that you provide as well, or it's those who are have mapped their list of to where they want to go and then you work with them to get to that level?
No, I don't. So I work with the teams. I only get paid from the team side. So players and families don't pay me. I don't want to take advantage of families sometimes that may not be able to afford things like that. So the schools can, right? So I really just try to find the talent. And honestly, I try to help as many kids as I can that ask for it outside of that, guys that maybe aren't going to go to one of my schools or, are looking for a school late. I try to help them all. So I do it on the side. The
Nice.
real work side of it is finding the specific players that I like. And then, outside of that, if guys have questions or whatever, anybody can reach out to me. My Instagram's here. I think I put my number on my social media, maybe a mistake, but
Yeah. So there's a question actually coming in that says, is Canada prep as good as USA prep? So this is actually jumping into the prep side of it, but that's a good question.
not yet. But they have so many more people. I mean, that's part of it, and obviously they're still the pinnacle. But it's very good. It's very good, and if these guys were playing in the States, there would be a lot more, exposure. I mean, every kid here grows up wanting to play Division One. I've seen it firsthand how it works. If these kids were playing in the States, there would be a lot more Division One players.
Wow.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's more about they would rather take a 7 American than an 8 Canadian kid, just because they're considered international. Even though we think Canada, America, right there, to them,
Yeah.
Canada could Serbia, could be anywhere, right? It's international. So even though we see it right there, they don't view it like that. And just like me, I have to stick my neck on the line when I tell a team, hey, this is the kid you should take. They're sticking their neck out on the line, and it's risky. I mean, for a lot of guys that maybe don't trust themselves, it's risky.
Yeah. Wow. That's good. It's funny because we're like here to Buffalo. We're only same time zone even. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're as if it's like a whole different part of the world. But that's a good point to make, because depending on which school you go to, whether it be in the US or Canada, I guess you would help them assess, where the priority is, whether it be Division One, Division Two, Division Three. Now, with that being said, are you only looking to support the Division One schools, or do you look at all levels of the divisions?
Yeah, no, all levels. It's just about who signs up to my service. I mean,
Okay.
I'll help whoever it is, right? So, and then, after years of doing it, I've built kind of the relationships all over. Like I said, that when, a friend is looking for a player or something, even if they're not signed up to my service, and, it's kind of funny how it works sometimes. A coach will say, hey, we're looking for a point guard. And then a point guard messages me like, hey, I'm looking for a school,
Yeah.
So, so yeah, no, I help the teams at literally every level, from, watching them in grade 9 onwards, and then helping, JUCOs, universities, and then if they ever get there, to the MBA side.
Nice. There is a question again for you that says, for shooters under 6 feet players, what are some of the important characteristics that scouts might be looking for? So that's a good question because not everybody can reach that 7 foot, 6 foot level, but they got skills.
Yeah, well, I mean, the two things I look for the most, I mean, it doesn't really bother me. And I actually just posted with my Maple Leaf rankings about a kid, Desmond Price, who's maybe 5'9" and is a point guard, but he makes everyone else better. So I would say the smaller you get, the more refined your decision making has to be. I would hope the more you're athletic or quick you are, because you get low to the ground. But that's not always the case, obviously. The smaller you are, the better shooter you need to be, for sure.
Okay.
You have to be knocked down. But I mean, for me, it's always about IQ and motor. Those are the two top things I look for. So if you're 6'2", but you have no motor, I'm not a fan.
Okay.
If you're 5'8" and you have a high motor and you're tough and you play hard and you make good decisions, there's nothing me or anybody can say, no matter your size, we'll find an opportunity for you because you help winning.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd say the smaller you are, the better you have to shoot. The more refined your decision making probably has to be. The better you have to defend, but you can make up for it with effort.
True. Effort. A for effort, E for effort, whichever way you take it, I guess. And Hanson Todd also wants to know, so do you go to rep games and tournaments?
Everything.
Everything. Yeah. So actually, if you follow his Instagram afterwards, he does post almost every other day or every weekend where he's at, who's he's watching, a little bit of a recap of what that particular player's moves are. So his Instagram account is Wes Brown. Go ahead and after this, you can follow him right away to get some more information in there. And there is someone that says, my mom thinks I'm special, which I'm sure all moms, we all definitely think our kids are special. Will you help me? So again, reach out to Wes through his Instagram. He's very reliable and in responding back to any questions or concerns. So, or if anything you want to filter through me, I can do that to get to him as well too. You said that you do provide this report on a weekly basis. Is there a generic way that anybody else that wants to read these reports can access or subscribe to and get that particular analysis that you're doing? Or is it geared specifically for those who request for it?
Yeah, it's geared for teams. I've thought about doing some type of newsletter for the public. I'm not sure I want all that information out there, but to be determined, because maybe I'll offer at some point in the future, because part of what I want to do, like all of us, is grow like the interest, I've done some of these TSN hits and I'm just trying to grow it on that front too. And I see what their responses are, which is everything's always about hockey. I'd love to grow, the interest. I mean, the prep basketball scene is incredible, right?
Yes.
And there's tons of talent, and I wish the community had more. There is interest for sure, but in the States, obviously, it's a different beast.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish there was more of that here, but we'll see. So if I was gonna do a newsletter or something, I've thought about doing that and saying, there's this game this week, it'll feature this prospect against this prospect, and hopefully if that ever gets to the masses, then we can start building up,
expanding that. Yeah, because that's a good way to say, because with TSN, for my American moms, it's like the ESPN version here, where they do every evening or every day recaps of sports and athletes, but most often for us here, we are bombarded with hockey, which is a great sports too, but like you're saying, the talent for basketball is so strong. And I think that's why it's important that we understand, when someone's at a game or a tournament and they see you there, the importance and then the role that you are playing in helping bring that to the forefront, especially making it Canada-wide, not just, U.S. versus Canada, but the fact that we have it here and the fact that we won a championship before,
That's big. That was big. Any reason to get the Americans thinking about us,
yeah,
and that's what that did, really.
Yeah, I agree, and it made him wake up, so that's good. There is another question for you. It says, how talented is the 2024 class here in Canada?
Unbelievable.
Okay. I think somebody had mentioned that before to have for 2020.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, that's good.
Really?
Without giving any names right now, based on what you've seen during COVID, with a lot of athletes, a lot of families, didn't get that opportunity here, especially in Canada, to even travel to do AAU circuits or even compete here internally. Based on what you've seen since our restrictions have been lifted, have you seen that the players have gotten better, or they still have a long way to go because of the downtime that we've all experienced?
Yeah, I mean, it's to be expected that they're probably not as refined, but
Okay.
I still think the basketball has been good. And I haven't been bothered at the level, and there's still incredible players out there. And for me as well, it's been a year and a half almost off. I mean, I wasn't off, but trying to figure out who's good from your couch, watching
Yeah.
YouTube. Very difficult, and there's no new game footage. So for example, I went to a workout the other day. A kid was sub 6 feet or so, and is now 6'4", and another kid that just committed to Princeton was a kid that I remember seeing at Crescent. He was maybe 5'8", 5'9", now apparently 6'2", and grew throughout the so it's yeah. So I just have to recalibrate everything, but no, I don't think maybe they're not as refined, but I think there's as good talent as ever, and the talent's been good.
That's good. And with that being talent, there's a question here from Toronto Basketball asking, many of the players or many of the top players have left here in Canada to go play for U.S. prep school. So what's your intake on that as well?
Well, I think first of all, with COVID, everybody's dying to get there, to get the D1 looks. This is what every kid
Yeah.
speak to them. This is what they want, right? They want to all go D1. So I think that they have to play first of all, right? So they know there's going to be basketball in the States because they're not as restrictive as here.
Yeah.
Second of all, it is, like, to be fair, it is easier to get that Division I offer and opportunity in the States. You're there on the ground. They come see you. When they come here, you're a real Canadian. But when you're a Canadian playing in America, they don't really see that.
Okay.
They're bothered by it as much.
Okay.
Because they don't know that watching you play until they talk to you after or read the roster or whatever it is. But we're all trying to get that here.
Yeah.
And that's part of my goal, and part of why I do the Maple Leaf rankings and everything is to give them more exposure, because they need it. And that's part of what does it, is the marketing behind it and everything like that, which you see in the States, that we need more of here.
Yes, definitely. And I think what you're doing, like, again, I'll keep saying it, is great, because it's adding another level of exposure to the talent that we have here, and not necessarily, we may not always get the coaches from the U.S., whether it be like South Virginia, wherever, which part of the state is, to travel and cross. It's not that we have
Right.
all these restrictions to come and see. So you're like the eyes that's providing this, in-depth experience and knowledge to them, to be able to see that, hey, come see Canada, come get some of our athletes, and it's going to fulfill your team and make it a full roster. There is another question for you again. What does a 5-star rubric look like? If you can elaborate a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I have a list of qualifications, kind of, but really it's just my decision to
Okay.
I think the 5 Leaf players are the guys who are high major prospects that really have that maybe NBA level of potential. But it changes, and sometimes I might post about a kid that's a 4, and a month later I see them and I think they should probably be a 5, or vice versa, and I've got to get better at changing all those things dating. But a 5 Leaf player has star talent, I would say.
Yeah.
For the most part, I'm looking for guys that play a role and that know their role, and that can succeed whether or not the ball is going in. They can help the team win. And then the 5 Leaf guys are really for the primary guys on a team, I would say. But there's no there's no real, I mean, what do I look for? Like I said before, you know, IQ, motor, shooting, athleticism, defense, something like that.
I like that. I like that. So hopefully that answered your question. If you have more, please do go ahead, put it in through. But from your side, when you're sitting, on the court and you've seen so many, like you said, you've been doing this for so long. What are some of the proudest moments that you have, you can put on your resume and say, you know what, I saw this and I was able to help this particular school or athlete get there. And when nobody was talking about it, I was talking about him. Um,
Yeah, I mean that I'd say that's happened a few times.
yeah,
For sure, me making my first sale was a proud moment. Me signing up some of the top teams. I mean, I have a lot of the top teams in the NCAA, and I have a good number of NBA teams that are signed up. You know, and every time I get a sale, it's really a boost. Uh, I've sent a good number of kids to high major schools. You know, not sent, but I've been involved in the process and scouting them here on the ground and relaying to my teams, and then they end up signing the player. So
mhm.
I played a hand in it. So every time that happens, I'm really proud. I don't want to name names or anything.
That's don't
I I, I think most people know a lot of the ones that I've been involved in, but even more so, like just helping players. I mean, most recently, like there's been a number of players that haven't, with COVID, it's been difficult, I think, and they haven't had a school and maybe haven't been able to navigate. And if you're a player and you message a coach, maybe they don't respond.
yeah,
Uh, but when I do, they trust. They trust. I built that trust with them. So just helping anyone get to a prep school or get to a university or a college, whatever it is, it feels good. It
yeah.
feels good.
Yeah, it's I once you do good, you gotta give yourself a pat on the shoulder, with all that services. But there is another question that says, what are some of the top youth clubs in Toronto that provide these talent exposures? Maybe you can list some of the places that you've been to look at players play.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the top ones are all the AAU teams that are on the Adidas, Nike, and Under Armour circuits.
Hmm.
If you go play for any of them, you're playing in front of hundreds of coaches. And, I go to all those events, and that's the best event for me too, because my whole business, I always say, I didn't spend whatever thousands of hours in the gym by myself in the middle of nowhere to get this opportunity to go talk to all the coaches here in the States and not take advantage. So
Yeah,
so at those events, those are the best events for all the kids trying to go Division 1.
yeah,
But I always like to say, like, if you're good, I'll find you, or if you're good, someone will find you.
yes.
Uh,
Yeah.
so
And
uh,
said, do you recommend the athletes consistently post things on their social media? Like, whereabouts do you go find? Is it just Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube? Like, which avenues are you, or I mean, which social media avenues are you often, using or utilizing to be able to find the talents?
yeah, Instagram and Twitter for sure. Instagram for sure, number one. I mean,
Okay.
you get follows daily by kids that message you and want help or whatever, and then they send you a YouTube video. I mean, I did that today. I did it yesterday for another kid. Like, so that stuff happens daily. So Instagram's a really good resource.
Great.
And like I always say, just message me. I mean, I'll respond. And yeah, you just need a video, which is kind of the tough part these days because
Yes.
basketball is picking up again.
Yeah, it's picking up and it's good. So for video side of it, and Toronto Dot Basketball, get to your question. For the video, I mean, most often there's certain events that they have a professional videographer or however they call it that puts all these highlight reels and everything in there. And I think I've asked this before another guest, what's the quality that you look for? Like, it's simply just using my phone, and do you want to see the whole game? Do you want to see a portion of it? Do you want to see the good and the bad? Like, what is it that will say these are good that I can look at to be able to make a preliminary, assessment
Yeah.
in order to take the next step?
The I need a game. I always ask for a full game tape. because I'm trying to see how you move away from the ball, how you think, how your decision. If you crowd the ball constantly, I
Mhm.
can't see that in a mixtape, but I can see that in a game that, you probably want your shots. And if you make a bunch of step back threes in a mixtape, I can't tell if those are maybe, end of the shot clock shots when you need to take it, or that's a 5 seconds into the possession and you're forcing a bad shot,
Yeah.
so full game tape. And then for mixtape stuff, I get that question a lot. Start the mixtape with either a freaky athletic play if you have it, or
Mhm.
your NBA skill, right? What is it that you do? If I'm suggesting you, or your coach is putting you on the floor, what are they putting you on the floor to do? To shoot, to score, to run the offense, to box out and rebound and protect the rim, so show me that initially.
So,
And then I kind of get a feel for who you are. And, usually I'll start with a mixtape, and then if it looks good enough, get to the game tape.
well, these are good because sometimes, I have to make sure my phone is fully charged before a game, and you have all these footages. It's like, is anybody even ever going to look at this? I mean, we watch it and rewatch it for them to relearn it, but you're always thinking, what if somebody asks for it? Is that good enough to, for you to view it? And if, say, the person or the athlete wants to reach out to you in that way, is it always just through Instagram, or do you prefer through email? Because sometimes, the file could be so big you have to send it as a link so they can see it. I'm just trying to break it down to the details, like, oh, okay, I'm in a message and I want to send my footage, but you want to make sure that you're sending the right information that's not going to, for them waiting, and also doesn't, keep up your time looking at something that could have been properly edited. So what other methods can they contact you to be able to send you these footages, so that when you're, right now there's no NBA going on. There is WNBA, but there's no NBA going on. So you have ample of time to watch it to be able to give that analysis. Are there other methods that we can send these videos to you?
I would say put it on YouTube. That way you could
Okay.
send it around to coaches, whoever it is. Get it on YouTube, and that way you could just send a link.
Mm-hmm.
Email is wes@nbaprospects.com. I'm pretty sure it's on some of my social media also. So for sure, you feel free to email me. I mean, I usually respond to almost everything. So
Yeah.
whether it's Instagram DM, email, text, whatever, get a link to it, put it on start a YouTube channel, put it on YouTube, and then you could send it.
Great. And then the question that we're is being waiting to ask is, with a lot of basketball, prep school definitely has popped up here in Canada a lot. Which in some ways, I find it is good, and in some ways, it could be also overwhelming. What is your thoughts on those?
I mean, basketball popularity is at an all-time high here, right? So I think everybody's just trying to build a team, and there's enough talent to go around, and it's become really popular. And I think for the most part, people's intentions are good, and there's probably talent in every area. I mean, I went to Kitchener Waterloo yesterday. I haven't been there much, and there was a player that was fantastic that I'd never seen before,
Yeah.
and he's not standing out physically. He's not 6'8" or anything like that. Um, yeah, there's talent everywhere. There's talent everywhere, and I think everybody's trying to find it and gather their local troops. I mean, for the love of the game, the same reason I'm doing this or anyone else.
Exactly. Now, are you only servicing just Ontario, or is it all of Canada?
Yeah, I try to see everyone. I mean, if there's Division 1 level talent, I feel pretty confident. I've seen them all countrywide, and then just trying to gather the top players everywhere. I mean, I went to BC recently. I know I'm going to see some of Alberta's best teams come play prep here, a week or two. Out east, I still got to go pretty soon. But you build relationships all over the country, and
Yeah.
for the most part, people will let me know, if there's a high level of talent out there, if there's a player that needs help, because again, I'm not trying to get money from them or anything, so it only would help them by messaging me to help the kid.
And I don't think we identified it before, but you're scouting mainly for the male athletes, or is it female and male?
No, I can't imagine if I tried to do both. I would not. Yeah, no, it's just guys. It's just guys.
Okay, okay. Just to say, because I do have some parents whose kids are females, and there is great organization that does that as well too. But I just wanted to differentiate and make sure that they understood if they're contacting you, the services that you are providing is covered. And there's another question that says, are international, non-US, post-secondary scholarships common or even available? Good question.
Yeah, both. They're relatively common and they are available, but you have to get seen.
Yes.
And it's a process. It's not just like, a coach is going to come and offer you right away, especially with a Canadian.
Yeah.
It's a process. But usually what the process looks like, to be honest, is you're a good rep player. Prep school finds you. You go play for the prep school. You go to a big tournament or something, or I see you and really like you, and then somehow, a Division I coach gets a hold of your name, number, tape, whatever it is, or sees you live, and then starts to build that relationship.
Nice.
But yeah, no, I mean, again, if you're good, we'll find you and we'll help you get it done.
Okay. That's being on the talent side, which you indicated, character, IQ, ball handling, and everything. Being a parent, school just started, and academic is just as important. How much factor do you take that into as well when you're doing your assessment?
Well, I mean, the thing is, it dictates where they're going to play, right? First of all, I mean, if you're a qualifier, for example, if you want to play Division I, you're a qualifier, you're fine. But if you're not a qualifier, then you have to go figure out a different route, either play JUCO or play somewhere in Canada.
Yeah.
The academics kind of like is part of framing who they are, right? I mean, if you're a hard worker in one thing, you're usually a hard worker in general, and so the guys who are, hard workers on the court or in practice are probably hard workers in school a lot of the times. Not having great grades, that doesn't really factor much into my decision making, but there's it has to on the lower end if you're getting 50s, and on the higher end if you're getting 90s, that partly frames what you're interested in. All right, a kid that's getting an 85 or a 90 probably more interested in Ivy League or a high academic school here like Queens or something like that.
Yeah.
Versus other guys who may not have all of the options at their disposal because they're academics, and then you navigate it from there.
Yeah. Now, with the prep aspect of it, let's say there's an athlete who you said, he starts off with rep, we go into prep, and then you get looked at, and that route doesn't work through. Let's say the scholarship falls through. For Canadian universities at the U Sport level, do you work with them as well in getting players to go and also play on their team?
Yeah, no, I work with tons of U Sport teams. And I'm pretty proud. Like we talked about, I've helped them get some of their best players.
Great.
I mean, that's the part of scouting, right? Where it's like, because guys maybe aren't the most. A lot of the American teams might look at size and athleticism first, where I look more for motor and IQ, guys that just know how to play and that will play hard, and I know will contribute again whether they're scoring or not. I help a ton of the teams here, and I think it's a great option. And now we have the CEBL, so kind of gives kids something to look forward to. Like, for the NCAA is great, but you can play for a university team here and also get an opportunity to play pro and kind of like slowly build where you're going to go at the next level.
Yeah.
Exposure there, and you can probably get kicked and see that you're not good enough at that point, and maybe it's incentive to work harder.
I agree. And yes, shout out to CEBL because I think they just finished their third season. And for those who don't know, it's the Canadian Elite Basketball League, and they've been doing great in also helping provide exposure to Canadian athletes. And I think they have a percentage that has to be all Canadian and then some international that come in. So if you ever get a chance to watch any of their games, do watch it because it's pretty entertaining, and it's they're top notch too. Athletes are really good. Um, there is someone who's going to be going to the platinum circuit that's coming soon later this month. Yes, and he said that it will be very exciting to see all of the Canadian prep schools definitely play each other. And this is a great exposure, I believe, to see all, old or pre-existing prep school, new ones that's popped up, those who are still in their inaugural year, have all these athletes compete and put on their best that they can be. And will you be participating, or will you be there as well?
Yeah, I'll be at prep tournaments pretty much every weekend from like next weekend onwards. Yeah, there's one every weekend. I'll be in Montreal actually in a few weeks, and there's a few big ones here: the Platinum one, the Premier League one. Uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, no, it's going to be really good. I'll be at all of them. I'll be at all.
Nice. Yeah. So yeah. So he will be there. If you are ever there, don't get nervous or anything. Just do your game, do what you have to do. You can maybe say a little hi on the side. But like he said, you've been on the other side before where you were playing and you saw and you kind of changed your game. So based on what Wes says, just keep your head in the game. Do what your NBA status is or what your game is, what makes you, the athlete that you are, and he will see it. And like you said, if you're that good, that falls within the categories that they look for, you'll be found. So to the parents, don't worry. I don't think you need to reword anything and tell their child to do anything different than what they are. Just let them be, let them show up, play their game, whether they're on the bench or on the court full time, whatever it is. Correct?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, good. I wanted to also bring in there a little bit question for you. Um, from a parent's perspective, because everybody, we all think our kids are number one. Our kids are the best. We're like, oh my God, we're calling the sideline. That was this, that was all these different things that we do because we want to, get our kids to shine to the best that they can be. What are some of the things that you could tell us, from your side from what you've seen, that we should be aware of while we're on this journey? Like so that we're not in la la land thinking, oh my God, you're number one, you're shining, and why would you not look that, or you, or whatever the case may be. Like you can say, hey, as to the parents, these are the things that we're looking for, but be mindful so you're not overshadowing or undercutting, to like advice to us that we could be aware of.
Yeah, I mean, you can talk to the coach about what it is that the player needs to work on. I think, like you said, most parents have an unrealistic view of their kid. And I had a recent situation like that this week where I think a parent unrealistically thinks something of their kid. And I mean, I don't want to kill anyone's dreams at the same time, right? But
Mm-hmm.
you have to understand that there's certain things that you need to work on. And I never feel, I don't feel bad telling them, like, if you need to work on your defense or your effort, that's something that's in your control, and if you're not giving your all, then, so I think if a player's not getting the minutes that the parent wants, you got to have we're adults. Like, you have to have a mature conversation. If that's what you want, if you want more minutes, but you know what? Sometimes it's good for the kid to get, their first letdown almost, and to learn from it and work hard and figure out themselves what it is that they need to work on, like,
Yep.
I was babied to agree. We've all been babied to some degree, right? Growing up. And at some point you have to figure it out, and I mean, I guess better sooner than later. But if the kid isn't going to go out of their way to kind of find out, the parent can have a conversation with the coach and say, what is it that they need to work on? How can they get more minutes? But leave it at that, right? The coach is going to make their decisions. The coaches know what they're looking for, and they know why they play certain guys and why they don't play certain guys.
Right.
So yeah, it's tough. I get it, but
Yeah, it is. How early do you start looking in terms of athletes? Is it just for those who are like 14 and up, or grade 9 and up, or do you ever look at those in a rep program, grade 7s and 8s, or any of that?
yeah, like usually grade 9, usually high school.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll go to like the OBA championships or something like that, for grade 8. But yeah, grade 9. I mean, I don't think there's any need to see kids in grade 8. We're so far away from it. I mean, the
Okay.
I go see a grade 8K, the chance of me still doing what I'm doing by the time they finish school is just unlikely, you know. So
Yeah, I know. I asked that because so, like one of my kids is younger, and you see talents at that level, and there's some that may have that idea that you can get scouted at that age, which I find it a little too soon because you're still developing. So I wanted to get it from your side of it. It's like, hey, no matter how good or you think it is, just continue to develop. They're not actually going to be start looking at or assessed until a later date. So work on the skills now, develop it, and by the time they reach there and they're in your view, you can see if all the work that they put through is, I guess, true or not. Correct?
yeah, just focus on the process. Focus on getting better.
Mhm.
Again, we'll find you. Like, trust me, you know. So just focus on getting better. Don't worry about the scouts or the glitz. Like, don't get too focused on, Instagram fame or whatever it is. Just keep your head down. Just keep playing. Like, trust me, we're there. We're watching, and we'll find you.
Nice. And there's another question about the rankings. Do they still matter? And how like how do your clients look at it, one versus B or C or whatever the letters metrics are? Like, is it just a little grouping, or is it just like, how does it matter, how does it work, and does it actually matter? Should we actually be engaged in there, like get an A, get a B, get a C, or whatever the letters are?
No, well, I mean, I started the Maple Leaf rankings because I don't want to do, or ratings because I don't want to do rankings, right?
Okay.
Are useless. If team one needs a point guard and team two needs a shooting guard, what does it matter if team two wants, like, if they want the number one player, they're just still going to take the shooting guard. It doesn't
Mhm.
make so there's no reason to do rankings, right? I could do position rankings maybe, but I'm just leaving myself
Yeah.
we're like room for error essentially, and I don't think it's necessary. I kind of evaluate, kind of what level, and if I like them or not, and I really look at basketball pretty differently than almost all other scouts, because you're a player might have long-term potential, uh,
Hmm.
as, let's say, a really good role player, but maybe not that star level. But there's a kid that's playing star level now, but I think even if he makes it to high level, his ceiling is going to be capped. So, like, how am I going to decide who's ranking high? This kid that's
Yeah.
going up, kid that's there, but that's never going to move up from that. To me, it doesn't make any sense, and I think you're almost, you just kind of find the right fit for each player or what each team's looking for. I have a list ranked essentially, but I don't even follow it. So
Okay. So yeah, so for anyone else that's wondering, your top number one, top number two, whatever it is, in the end of the day, it's the skills and the characters and your ability to make plays, correct?
yeah,
Um,
and teams looking. I mean, it doesn't matter where the rankings don't mean anything, and we're all wrong too. Like,
yeah.
I'm wrong as much as I'm right. It is what it is, right? You just keep doing the job, and the players can prove you wrong. So you're just trying to find the right fit more than you are, worried about rankings and stuff. But the kids like that stuff.
Yeah, great. Another thing I wanted to find out from you then is what are, I think you already touched a little bit on it, but post COVID, right now, I still think we're in it. What are some of the things that we can look forward to? Because you did say, you might want to do the general report that you give out and everything, but with games being open now, and we might go into this other fourth wave, whatever the case may be, let's say 2, 3 years from now, what can we look forward to in terms of the Monday's scouting report?
This
That far ahead.
new merch.
Oh, you're Brandon.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm good. For me,
Yeah.
it's going to be the same old. A lot of it. I'm going to be releasing a lot of stuff. This is just a sneak preview. It's not what it's going to look like, but sneak preview of what's coming. Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, all I wanted was either I loved fashion, and that was a potential other route for a career. So I think I'm going to include some of that kind of stuff on, more branding, and um, but the same old, I don't know, Gifty. Like, I'm gonna see what comes, right? Like, just like basketball, life is reading and reacting, and I'm gonna see, what opportunities. I've already started to think about potentially bringing, reports to the public, and giving like a subscription option, a few dollars a month, and you kind of get to learn about the scene at a very basic level. So we'll see. But the same old, expect to see me in as many gyms as I could possibly get to.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
my media, blowing up with video, and that's about it. Same old.
How uh how big is your phone memory data then if you keep getting all these through Instagram? Because Google memory itself is like capped like this after a while. I can only
I,
imagine.
I
Yeah.
just I just delete it. I
Oh,
goes, oh, otherwise, yeah, my phone would be done.
yeah, yeah, because it does get full, pretty full after a while. So yeah, and someone says that they love your post, so that's good. Yeah, keep it up because people are watching. I guess it's in some ways too. It's another way to see what's out there because you're also giving us a view from your side of what you see from the court side, in terms of various athletes. Like you say, being in Waterloo, like unless I travel there, I wouldn't know who that particular player is or what team's out there. And I think for Canada right now, the hub is pretty much within Toronto and a little bit of the surrounding area. So you going outskirts and providing and giving us all these information also allow us to know that it's not just this small little circle that we have. There's bigger talent out there. And with that, for parents who may be in, let's say, Sudbury or Nipissing, or that they have this small little league that their child is in there, and they want to get this exposure, they want to get this, someone to come and look out and see their child play from grade 10 onwards. What are some of the things that you find that they can do to get that? Like, do they just join any, like the tournament happening here, other than reaching out to you too? Because you said, it's teams that call out to you. You don't really do the individual aspect of it. What would be some of the things that you tell the parents to say, talk to the coach, talk to the club owners, like some things that they can do to get your attention or those who are in that particular service so their student athlete gets that visibility?
Yeah, I mean, there's prep teams in most crevices of Ontario, so I can always put them in touch with them. But like you said, if you come play a tournament in the Toronto area, the Toronto basketball circle is pretty small, and somehow, like, trust me, somehow the word's going to get back to me.
Yeah.
Like, and I get messages and texts and calls and everything from every which way, like you've asked. Like, it's getting a little ridiculous these days, but about kids, and I'll do my due diligence, and if they're good, I'll try to help them with whatever it is. So yeah, playing tournaments in the Toronto area, that's a great idea. I can connect you with someone locally or even a university coach that's local.
Yeah.
uh, and have them come look at you, whatever it is. Like, the basketball community is small, we all know each other, there's schools and rep teams everywhere.
Yes.
So whether you reach out to me or you go and talk to them, somehow the word just gets around almost always.
It's a small knit at some point. Everybody does talk to each other. And if you can shed a little bit light on the players in Kitchener based on your recent travel there. One of the questions just wants to know, they've never been there before, but they just want to know what are some of the top players there. If you're comfortable or if you're allowed to even drop names. If not, by all means, you can talk in generic.
Yeah, well, I mean, in KW, I don't know the exact areas. Josiah Davis, who's played for Team Canada and is committed to West Virginia, a 2022 kid, very, very good. Point guard, lefty, I believe. That's very tough. Jacob Theodosio, another kid from there that just played for Team Canada's under 16 team. And yesterday I saw a kid, Nemanja, I can't remember his last name, Sarkanovic or something, on Tri-City Prep.
Okay.
Scored 40, but it was close. He was spectacular. So there's talent everywhere, and I'm just trying to do my best. And that's why I say, reach out to me or reach out to a local prep coach or rep coach or whatever it is. And somehow, I'm just as much as maybe they're trying to find me, I'm trying to find them.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's a way out there all the time. So whether you've been playing rep all your life and now you're ready to get to the prep level and you want that exposure, Wes is one of the scouts that you can reach out to, like you said. And you're mobile. Do you ever do any let's say Zoom call or anything like that, or allow them to, like, let's say, the baller TV app, watching digitally from virtually to see how the game goes, or do you always have to be in person?
No, yeah, I do. I just prefer in person. I mean,
Okay.
um, if you're betting on a player, I'm sticking my neck out to a school. Hey, you should take this kid. I
Hmm.
need certain, right? My neck is on the line there, so I probably won't do it unless I see them live. I actually helped a kid get a Division 1 scholarship without ever seeing him live during COVID, which was pretty funny. But for the most part, I need to see them live to be able to really give that honest analysis.
Yeah.
Uh, and seeing guys live too, you get to see kind of their level of athleticism a little more. And the tape sometimes can be choppy. I mean, usually you can tell what kind of player they are from the tape, but um, if I'm saying, hey, like, this is a guarantee, you should take this kid, when it gets to the level, the time to make a decision, I have to have seen them live, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Good point. Good point. So it doesn't matter where you are. Wes will find a way to be able to look at you, like you said, if you're that good. And it doesn't matter what your ranking is, as long as you have the characteristics, the IQ, ball handling, and you're able to play the game, right, at the elite level. I didn't even talk about it a little bit earlier, but when you were starting, I think it's part of your resume too that you supported the BioSteel Canadian
Yeah.
All-Star. Um, the American version has that all-star aspect of it, all American, all of that. In comparison it to Canada here, how do you see that growing year over year so that our athlete and our parents here can feel confident that, this is one of the tournaments or this is one of the events that if you get called in or you want to try to make it in, it's still worth your while.
Oh, that's the biggest event we have. I mean, that's in the States they have the McDonald's All American Game and stuff like that. And the Nike Hoop Summit, the Jordan Brand Classic. There's Allen Iverson game, I think, that actually Kareem Maine, a Canadian kid, played in. But that's the biggest stage we have. So for anyone that makes it, I mean, it's an honor. And
Mm-hmm.
that gets selected should travel, which I believe they cover the flights, should go and play in it. I mean, that game's televised on TSN. I don't know about the viewership, but as basketball continues to grow, I'm sure that will continue to grow as well in terms of the popularity, and will become a big game, which it already is. But that is the pinnacle of high school basketball for us.
Nice. And anything you also want to talk about with regards to Canada elite aspect of it, because that's another opportunity for players to also get that exposure and experience as they go on this particular journey.
Yeah, like playing in the BioSteel game, you mean?
With the Canada Elite One travel team, I think that's what they do. That I think in the summer, some of them went in the States to do the little bit of the circuit there. Because I have some, athletes have asked, I want to make it to the Team Canada or I want to make it to the Canada Elite. What do I have to do? And I'm like, well, when's the last time that you played? Where are you playing? What's your skill level? Things like that. Besides the BioSteel, what other type of circuit here within Canada that is out there that parents can also look out to in case they don't make it to one? There's another option because you mentioned multiple ones for US, but are there others other than the BioSteel that we have here in Canada?
Yeah, for a bit we had a signature All-Star game. That was another one. But in terms of like actual circuits and tournaments, like we said, there's the National Senior Circuit, I think, and Platinum Circuit they have, which has a ton of teams now. It's going to be really good. The Premier League now is in their first year. It should be really good next weekend. Another one, and then there's the OSBA we have here, Ontario Scholastic Basketball Association, which has, I think, 18 teams now. It's going to be an incredible year, incredible talent there. Playing
Mhm.
for those teams, you really get great exposure. And then again, like we've talked about how it's growing in Quebec, there's now a prep league. There's, the CEGEP schools that were there, but there's a prep league now too. So maybe kids can go a more traditional route rather than, the CEGEP route, which is a little more complicated. Kids end up going, to play for university when they're 20.
Yeah.
Uh, and there's prep schools like people have mentioned popping up in the country. So there's more and more opportunities, and some of these prep schools may not be playing in a tournament here, but they go to the States and play in different tournaments there. And obviously there will be Division I coaches and eyes on them and scouts like me there. There's many more of me in the States than there are here.
Yeah.
So there's always opportunities.
Is okay, great. So thank you. I think most of the comments are coming here. So thank you for what you do for the kids. Saga City King says the legends on IG Live, love it. So thank you. And Jovan is saying what's up. So everyone's appreciating, the work that you're doing and being honest and providing, clarity as to what it takes to get to the highest and the elite level from a scout perspective. So hopefully most people that join us got a lot of insight into it. And again, if you need to reach out to Wes, he is on Instagram, he is on Twitter, Wes B. Brown at Instagram, he's available. And I'm sure if he's not, like you said, the DM messages, you're pretty good in replying back within the time manner, but be specific of what you're looking for so he can support you as needed. And shout out to Wes, great work. So yeah, kudos to you. Besides the merchandising aspect of it, is there anything that you want to announce or share or request from the Ball Mom community that we can do to also help you grow?
No, I'm good. I'm just on my path. I'm trying to work hard and give kids exposure, provide as many opportunities as I can, and like everyone else that maybe is chasing a D1, I have my own goals and dreams as well. So I'm trying to do that also.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Wes. Very informative. I did learn a lot more than I thought I knew with regards to how the scout world works. And I definitely look forward to seeing you grow more into, even having more staff on you or something like that. Because I'm sure fit yourself so many different ways, one weekend with 3 games going on at 3 different places. So definitely wishing you like great growth and great success on that. And if anybody have any questions afterwards, again, after I post it, comment it, email, message, and we will definitely get in touch with you. So thank you. Like I said, when we're done, it'll be dark. It is dark right now.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Wes. Have a good rest of the night.
You too.
Okay, bye.